Maybe for you guys as a team, obviously you're taking steps, but in this case, tough loss at home to Coastal. What do you feel like, maybe as an offensive unit, you feel like you've improved the most? And then what do you think is still maybe the one thing that really needs to improve moving forward with these last 5 games?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like the offense has improved. You can see it just in terms of I think our explosive plays have definitely picked up. It's just a matter of, when we got to the red zone a bunch, it's just finishing the drive. So that just comes with like little execution details. You know, it was 2 flags or it was a guy not hitting the right hole. So like the offense, it's there and we can produce and we can, get yards. It's just when it's a critical, coach calls it critical situation execution. It's, being able to execute what you need to do when the time calls upon you.
Jacob, how tough was it to, kind of overcome or deal with when you drive down, you score 2 touchdowns and both of them get taken off the scoreboard because of penalties?
Yeah, it's a bummer for sure because you celebrate with your team and then you see the flag and you're like, all right, well, let's go do it again. And then obviously it ends up not going your way. And coach has really been honest about just kind of not getting too high, not getting too low. It's just like, well, we didn't score that one, so we're gonna go back and score the next one. So we drive it again. It doesn't go our way again, but it's just like the fact of keep driving. And I feel like we kind of showed that. In fact, we didn't really count ourselves out because we knew we were a good team. We knew we could beat Coastal. So it's just a matter of keep playing and not letting it get you down too much.
That's what I saw the run game. Obviously, running backs didn't have a real big game last week, but was that more of just a game situation, or have you guys progressed a little bit because you just haven't seen as many explosive plays in the run game in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I feel like you might see it, but it's not the fact that it's going low. I think it's just the fact that the pass game's been very well. So it's like don't fix what's not broken. So I feel like since our pass game was going well, I feel like our run game is still there. And explosive plays are hard to get, especially on a run game, especially against good defenses. But it's kind of like the thing of if we're going to get a 50-yard bomb, then let's just take a 50-yard bomb to the house instead of grinding it out.
Well, Coach just talked about that interception play. I mean, what was your perspective on that play?
Yeah, early in the game, there was an interception, and luckily I got to make a tackle, which is kind of fun, I guess, in a way, because I don't ever get to be on the defense side of the ball. But it was just I feel like I'm a high effort guy, so just being able to try and make a play for a team that's, everybody else would make a play if they had the chance. That's really it.
Very good. Well, what kind of challenge does Monroe's defense present? And do you guys ever look at series history or what's kind of happened in the past between teams?
You look at like series history, but you don't really take into account. You might look at what's the rest of the season, what they've done this season. But especially I guess now since we're mid-season to end season right now, that you can't really look at past games and just really focus on now. And I think the biggest thing they do on defense is it's not a normal defensive front. It's something we haven't seen yet. They mix it up, and it's the coaches. I feel like putting a lot of responsibility on me to make sure I get the right calls out, and so I'm up for it.
All right. Any more questions for Jake?
I've got one more. But I mean, JC asked about the offense, but, specifically wanted to ask about Jalen. And, Coach talks about his leadership and how much he's kind of grown comfortable with the QB1 role. Just how have you seen him grow just over the course of this season?
Yeah, he's grown a lot. So when they got him in there, and the guy's he's a magnet. Like people like being around him, right? And it's just he comes in and after every drive, he makes sure we're all okay and tells us what we need to do, and kind of just gets us when we had the touchdown that we didn't get, he comes in and says we're gonna get another one. It's all right. So the leadership role is definitely there. He's obviously grown as just as a quarterback. I mean, he had 2 great games at UMass and Southern Miss, and I feel like he's still the exact same player. It's just it's other factors that you just kind of can't help.
Defense, there was some really good moments on Saturday. Coach mentioned some missed tackles in the lower end, things like that. Just where do you feel like the biggest improvement has been from you guys, and still yet, what's the biggest improvement to be made?
I think our effort has picked up, our tenacity has picked up. I think that you're seeing a lot more swarm around the ball. just a violence at point of contact that didn't necessarily see in the beginning of the season. They're starting to pick up every single game.
Does it present a challenge when you're facing a team like ULM that's used a couple of quarterbacks and you might not necessarily know what you're going to get on Saturday?
Definitely. When you have a two quarterback system, you have to kind of go through the ebbs and flows of the game, specifically in that area, right? You don't know what one quarterback is going to be more of a pocket passer, the other, can scramble a little bit more in situations like that. So you kind of have to, adjust to the playing style of those players.
How much better was just the defense as a unit last Saturday with everyone coming back healthy, yourself included? So just having everybody pretty much back on that unit, how was that, able to lift you guys up last week?
A lot. Just to know that we had our guys out there. Again, everyone was able to play. Everyone is able to have some type of role or effect in the game. Just made you feel a lot more comfortable. So that was a big portion of this game for us, which you all knew, but it was a big portion of the game for us, and it helped us do a little bit better than previous last week.
With some of the penalties in the fourth quarter the other night, was it just a matter of emotions and some frustration there, or what would you kind of?
Discipline. It always comes down, and this game always comes down to discipline and focus, right? Discipline in certain situations. We can sit here and say certain calls went one way, certain calls went another way, but at the end of the day, it's just discipline. Having the discipline as a team and you as an individual person to focus intently in any situation, regardless of your emotions or regardless of the circumstance, to be disciplined.
I know you already kind of touched on the quarterback, but I want to ask you specifically about this Blake Murphy, this new guy they got. Obviously, really the only film you had on him is from last week. So, just what have you seen from him, and how is it preparing for Clark when you have very little film on him at this point in the season?
Very shifty individual. Someone who can make things happen. Definitely from what we have seen, is somebody that can get out of the pocket when it needs to get out of the pocket. So it's going to be an extreme emphasis this week for us to make sure that we maintain the pocket. A couple times last week we let their quarterback get out of the pocket a few times and make plays with his feet. And that's something that's going to be another point of emphasis this week to make sure that we keep him in the pocket.
I wanted to ask about Javonte and just his growth as a football player since he's gotten here at Arkansas State.
Javonte is one of those young men who is extremely athletic, right? But our coaches understand that you have to hone those skills. You have to, take that athleticism and you have to put it in the right direction. And I think that Javonte's being a good job of being a student of the game, which has allowed him to, maximize and capitalize on all the opportunities that he's been given throughout this season. And to be honest with you, some opportunities that he's created for himself. One, for example, he got against USM, he almost forced that fumble, and that was just off of, straight effort. It is something that we practice, blind pursuit, punching at the ball, and things like that. But he's taken all the things, or majority of the things that he's been coached, he's taken to the field, which has been a tremendous thing. And I just think, honestly, a lot of people like to say the sky's the limit, but I don't even think there's any limits for him and what he can do. Javonte's an amazing player, and he will continue to be an amazing player and just continue to grow every single day.